Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be diving down into the world of Vechain, taking a look at what has been going on with the price action of VET. As we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit that like button, really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you're not yet joined us on Discord, link in the description down below, do come over. We are very active in Discord, we answer a few questions, do a little bit more TA, etc. And also you can check out the things that we do on Patreon as well. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, let's jump on down to the desktop and actually take a look at what's going on here with Vechain. Okay, we're going to try to keep this video pretty concise and, pretty streamlined, right? We'll try to not talk too much about the bigger picture, but we're going to be talk about what's going on right now with some of the things that are potentially deviations of what are expected to occur. So here, obviously, this is just a weekly chart. In line with the weekly, we do have that impulsive move that I'm kind of expecting to happen in the future. But again, we aren't there just yet. Okay, so obviously down into our daily view, we obviously can see how that kind of that impulsive move can potentially come to fruition. It's basically a part of this Elliott wave triangle, and we are tracking from C up to D. Once that wave D kind of comes in, we will have a pretty good expectation of a pullback with E, and then obviously from there we go up to the upside. I've spoken about this a few times. I'm not going to go into it on this particular video. We're going to really stay in on the here and the now. So to kind of get into that, and actually before we actually get into there, we want to kind of note that over the last couple of days, we've seen the daily stochastic RSI have that much needed correction, right? We're starting to pull this back down, and that is very much needed in the space across pretty much most of the altcoins. This basically allows us to take a look at that stochastic on our weekly. Our daily chart's now coming down nicely as well, ready for that big push to the upside in the new year in Q1. So what we're going to do is we're going to really focus in on what is going on here with our hourly view, right? Because this is where we can actually really take a look at the kind of micro movements, right? And obviously we've been tracking this quite heavily. We've been doing the wave counts. We had that one impulsive move just here, and we pushed up to that fifth wave. We had the pullback. We went into a continuation, and then we got that continuation and another push to the upside. Now here is where we were actually seeing an impulsive move, but it didn't actually kind of stay on that direction. Instead, we saw a market reversal with Bitcoin that kind of pulled us down. So what we're going to do is we're going to really just take a look at this in a little bit more detail here for a second. Okay, so as we can see, we had this spike to the upside, and then we had that continuation, and then here you can quite clearly see that we had this move, right? We can see it here, an A, B, C, but this actually could have potentially have been a big A wave in itself with a B wave coming down. This is how we were drawing it before. So we were looking at it like this: A wave here, B wave here, and then this was our C wave, or our impulsive move. Okay, and inside here we obviously had our A, our B, and our C move. Okay, that's the one that we just had deleted. Now that one is still valid, that A smaller ABC with an ABC down, and then of course we are tracking this. Now obviously to get that kind of impulsive move, we measure the distance here from our A wave, right? So the high of the A to the low of the A, we move that over to the low area of the B wave. You can see that we pushed past the 1.382, 1.618, and we had the pullback in here, and then we will get that continuation, and this is actually what's going on, right? So we were expecting this to be kind of a really big push, and it's important that we actually take a note of this one particular candle here. There was exhaustion, we pulled back down, and then we got the continuation. So there's a couple of different ways we can draw it, right? We can either draw this as an ABC here, as you can kind of see, or we can actually refer to this slightly differently in the fact that we actually have here an A, here a B, and our C wave. Okay, so we can draw it out like this. Again, this does make a lot of sense. And then obviously we have the A, B, C to the downside. Okay, so again, we can draw that out here, the A, B, and C. That B and C wave actually happen on the same hour. Okay, and then we get that push to the upside, a B wave, and then a C wave here. Okay, so again, we can take that low area of our C wave up to our A, down to our B, up to our C. Okay, and then obviously here we have the pullback. Now this is really interesting, is we kind of lose the wave count, right? And then this actually starts to make a little bit more sense to us in the sense that we have this pullback here, but no ABC move, and then a push to the upside. Now in order to really figure that out, when you can label this up as, in fact, it would actually be a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. Okay, so effectively what we have is all these valid, wave counts inside here up to this point, and actually that's a fourth wave collapse. So you can see exhaustion of buyers pulling down, and then we have that last push. So we actually have an impulsive move in here, okay? And again, fourth wave doesn't cross the first wave. The third wave is the largest wave, and everything actually makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to remove the noise from the charts here. We're going to just remove some of this out, so we can actually pay attention to that bigger picture. So we had this impulsive move, we had the continuation at the top here, and then we started to see the pullback in the market. Now, initially, if you're looking at this as a wave 3, we didn't actually, and this potentially as a wave 4, we never actually got that wave 5 higher, okay? And so this is where we were kind of seeing it go before, because this one candle here isn't very conclusive over the market, but only when you actually have the reflection of what happens next could you actually acknowledge that, okay, that there is in fact just the fourth wave pullback, and then of course we have that fifth wave blast there. This now puts our wave counts back on track, and we can start to actually take a look at what's going on here. So we have the A, the B, and the C with an A, B, and a double top here, okay? So this is important. So for example, we pull down with an A, we have our B, we have our C wave. So there's our first kind of pullback after we had that kind of I guess that impulsive move to the upside. Now of course we have the bigger picture here to also consider, right? This is just a continuation before we get that major pullback. Okay, so as I pull on out here and we just kind of get this back into view, what we actually can see is if I take it from here, we have our A, our B, and arguably down here should have been the C wave, but we had that little bit of more of a continuation, and we can put that there. And then what we want to do is we want to check this. Okay, so we want to check that that A wave just here. We're going to pull that down on top of our B wave, and what we can see, guys, is that we actually did kind of go impulsive here. So that tends to look more like more room to the downside, right? And this could actually be then our fourth wave with another push to the downside. Okay, so this actually now looks like it's impulsive down. So we should potentially draw this out with a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then potentially a 5. Now, again, this is backed up by that stochastic RSI needing correction. Like I said on the daily, also looks like it needs correction. So there could be a little bit more room to the downside here. And again, we can measure out that distance we would normally kind of be looking at in terms of a pullback. Here we can see that we have just pushed up above that 1.618 of the standard day wave move. So I'll quickly remove that. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at this move just here. And I'll do it the other way around, so we actually get that move to the downside, where we take that out, and we can see that we potentially, we could be looking at pulling back down into this range here, maybe about 7 cents if we get the 1.618. Otherwise, there's the 7.4. So 7.1 to 7.4 in this kind of area. I'll leave it at the worst case scenario right down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to draw up a rectangular box here to show some potential downside. Now, this is all short term, okay? And again, this could be a fantastic buying opportunity for when that reversal comes in, because you will get a reversal. Likewise, you can see here, you kind of see it starting to happen. Inside this last little leg, you would expect to kind of see a correction wave of sorts. Again, you might see this as 5 waves. You might see this as, and here's a good example of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think that actually just validates into a 5th wave there. So and I'll just quickly check that because I want to get confirmation that that didn't cross over. So let me just pull that out of the way there for a second and pull that one down. It did actually cross, so you could argue that it's not actually a valid impulsive move down within that 3rd wave, and therefore we should probably label that up as an ABC in itself. Okay, which we've kind of already got in there. So on that note, we could potentially be looking at a slightly shorter range, but we want to be aware that this could be either a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave counts down, or to keep it really simple, it could just be a simple ABC move to the downside. Obviously, when it comes to these impulsive moves, they should technically be a 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. But in crypto, they don't tend to always align to that, but you can see they're very clear wave counts. So we are looking for a little bit more downside here with Vechain. Again, this will be in line with our daily chart and our weekly chart. And again, we are looking to be good progression to the upside with wave D on that journey to the upside. But this is a bigger picture, a bigger play on that weekly chart, on that daily chart. And right now we are just talking micro movements, really small micro movements. Right now we're trading at 8.5. Potentially coming down towards the 7.4, 7.1, get that completed. And then from here, I think we're going to see a massive spike to the upside. And again, that will start off with an A, a B, and a C. And again, that could turn impulsive to the upside as well, as we had seen previously. Overall, this is potentially actually, if we really review that kind of trend line, on the potential here to actually stay above that trend line as well. So I think we're going to end up with a relatively short wave 5, but we are expecting to come down at least to that low area that we had set previously, which would be 8 cent. That would be my minimum expectation. Maybe you only get a double bottom here and before you get that continuation. Now, obviously back at the top here, we want to make sure that we don't have any kind of gaps left behind, right? So obviously we have this ABC, and we want to make sure that we don't have anything kind of strange going on right here. So we want to make sure that we have our A wave here. We have a B wave coming in, and then we have this C wave right here. And what you end up with is a slightly higher. We then obviously had the ABC, start here. Effectively, you could argue that actually, it started at this point with that bigger kind of correction piece with the bigger impulsive move to the downside. So that closes the gap down there. We have our wave counts fully counted and accounted for, and therefore we haven't, potentially miscalculated something. So right now we are looking here with an ABC to the upside. So again, there's no guarantee that this is even the top of our wave 4. We want to measure that distance as well. The B wave is relatively short here. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and grab our fib. We'll run this from the high of A down to the low of A, and then move that over to the bottom of B. And let me just get that aligned. Ooh, it's a little bit of lag here on TradingView, and that actually shows us that we haven't actually reached the potential, but we are up against resistance, and we have gone higher than A wave A. So we are coming up now towards the 702, the 786. These are areas that you might find rejection. That's kind of what we're seeing right now. The potential to push up to 8.8 is probably your maximum level. But right now, finding that resistance is a good turning point. So we could have a shorter wave C here, and then we start to see that pull back. So right now, we are expecting some downside. We are looking to go lower, or at least to the value of 8 cent. That would basically allow us for a double bottom, which could be another bullish signal to take us to the upside, or just going down a slightly lower. Our expectations are going to really be between that 7.4 and 7.1. That's the most probable area when we take a look at wave 5. But ultimately, we could potentially be looking at a slightly shorter wave 5 there, but time will tell. But right now, we should be expecting a little bit more volatility on Vechain, a little bit more room to the downside, before we actually start to move up again. And obviously, as we take a look at our daily chart, nothing moves up in straight lines. We are expecting this pullback. This is in line with an ABC move. And again, it wouldn't be too surprising if maybe this even turns impulsive as we complete that D wave out and then go into a correction with E wave. And obviously, as I've said before, this is going to lead to a potential huge breakout on the Vechain daily chart, and that takes us up into those higher levels. No guarantee that this play is actually going to be, coming to fruition just yet. And we need to see wave D come in. Once wave D's come in, we should be expecting that wave E pullback, and then from there we should be in the into a pretty good position to take Vechain to those next levels. Now guys, hopefully you have found this video useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button, really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, make sure that you do subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.